All right, New York Giants fans, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, we need to talk about Dave Gettleman. We really, really do, because it was just 5-6 short weeks ago that Dave Gettleman was going to be on the chopping block. And then it's the miracle run of the 2020 Giants and the Fighting Joe Judges that you now have to sit back and reevaluate the Dave Gettleman situation. You really do. I mean, we really have to think about it now. Because if you take a look, I mean, I have never seen such a turnaround to the fact that Dave Gettleman has basically gone from being out the door and being a zero to all of a sudden turning around and being a hero, because this year's moves have all seemed to be working out. I mean, just take a look at some of his free agents. Blake Martinez, Logan Ryan, I mean, James Bradbury. He's revamped this defense in regards to his free agents. Where will we be without Blake Martinez patrolling the middle of the field? Logan Ryan on his 1 year, $5.1 million contract. He's second in the team in tackles. He is just something else. I mean, he is an asset, and he is another coach on the field. And what can you say about James Bradbury? I mean, what can you really say about him? He is the lockdown corner that the New York Giants have not had since, go back to Mark Haynes. Mark Haynes, before he got traded to Denver and had that one bad season for the Giants, was literally an all-pro lockdown corner. And we have that now in James Bradbury, and that is because of our old buddy Dave Gettleman. His draft choices this year, you know what? He's built the offensive line, or rebuilt the offensive line this year. I mean, Andrew Thomas all of a sudden is a stud. The same thing with Shane Lemieux. Shane Lemieux looks like he is more than a keeper. We got Matt from Connecticut. Oh, Matt looks like he can ball a little bit as well. And then you turn around and you see how of course he wasn't a draft choice, but Nick Gates. Nick Gates has been playing center. He's been playing center well. Has he been phenomenal? No, but has he handled the position admirably? Yes, he has. I mean, you take a look at these situations just from that, and this is just on the offensive side of the ball. We haven't got into the defensive side of the ball with this year's draft choices. All the linebackers, Tay Crowder, Carter Coughlin, Cam Brown, have all been producing, have all been showing something. Xavier McKinney has finally got his foot healed back up, and he's back on the field. You know, we haven't really seen him much outside of special teams and a couple plays here and there, but he is back on the field playing well. And then, you can't blame him for Dave Gettleman is for the injuries to Saquon Barkley. You can't blame him for that. But you can, it's just he was a goner. Let's face facts. Dave Gettleman was a goner until about 5 weeks ago. And I don't know how this situation is going to play out for the Giants to the end of the season. But I can tell you this. He's pretty much solidified his spot on the team for next year. Graham Gano. We forget about Graham Gano. Graham Gano in some ways is the offensive MVP of this team. Another Gettleman find. And then if you actually take a look at things such as like the Odell Beckham trade, we got Peppers out of that trade, and Peppers looks like he's turning the corner and becoming a good player. We also picked up Dexter Lawrence. We know what he's doing. Shane Zimenez. Yeah, Shane has not become the pass rushing force that we thought he would be, but he has played. He's got, injuries abound. You can't blame injuries on our old buddy Dave Gettleman. But he's starting to turn the corner in reference to that. And then it's just, I am just dumbfounded how all of a sudden the internet chatter has gone from getting rid of Dave Gettleman to keeping Dave Gettleman next year. Now, Dave Gettleman has made some mistakes. Let's not sit there and say that he hasn't. I mean, one of the things we have to talk about also is the fact that he brought in Joe Judge. I mean, how about that? He brought in Joe Judge, the coach that everyone loves now. But, he's done some Other moves before 2012, they were kind of a suspect. The Alex Ogletree move, we gave up 2 draft choices for that. He did sign Antonio Bethea to that $6.5 million contract when he was 35 years old. Our old buddy Jonathan Stewart, he did bring in as well. So, that did not pan out too well. He brought in Golden Tate, and while Golden Tate has played well at times, I would not say he was the impact player the Giants thought they were getting when they signed him. And then we also, we brought in Nate Solder on that large contract. But that Nate Solder contract was also a contract of need for Dave Gettleman. But again, like I said, he has whiffed on some of his, a lot of his free agent signings and some of his draft choices. And well, you got to remember the old Kyle Lauletta. that failed experiment. We just got rid of Corey Ballentine as well. Will Hernandez hasn't been panning out. Lorenzo Carter, got hurt. You got B.J. Hill. Julian Love has been playing, but has he been playing fantastic? No. DeAndre Baker, you got to remember the DeAndre Baker fiasco as well. So, there are a lot of there's a lot of negatives that go along with the positives for Dave Gettleman. But the problem is, from what the Giants are doing and the players that they're using and the talent that they're using right now, a lot of these are just Dave Gettleman finds, or Dave Gettleman draft choices, or Dave Gettleman free agents. We wouldn't be where we are at right now if it wasn't for the guys that some of the guys that Dave Gettleman went and brought in. And that's the way we got to look at it. The offensive line has just turned it all around in the last 3 weeks. Andrew Thomas is now a different player. I was never one of those guys that sat there and said, hey, Andrew Thomas is a bust. I always said, you need to relax people and just let him groom himself into the position. And the same thing with Shane Lemieux. Shane Lemieux, they say, was not looking well his first couple of games. I thought he played okay for a rookie and where he was drafted. But all of a sudden now he's playing better every week. So, it's just one of those situations that you have to wonder what will happen in 2021. I think the Tisches and the Maras are going to look at the way the season finishes out. Even if we finish out at 6-10, you have to see that it is a progression. And it is the team finally moving forward. And you could say a lot of ifs now. You can say, well, what if we had a healthy Saquon Barkley? What if Saquon Barkley was playing well behind that line? The other thing that the other thing that Dave Gettleman has done, he has hung his hat on the career of Daniel Jones. I've said it a million times. I was not, and I'm still not a fan of Daniel Jones and where they picked him at 6, but I understand the philosophy of going out and getting your quarterback when they are available. And sometimes you can't take them and where the expert thinks the draft position will fall. You sometimes have to go out and get your man. And I have to give Dave Gettleman all the credit in the world for saying, okay, Daniel Jones is my guy. I am going out to get him. We've talked about this in the past. George Young did this with Phil Simms. In 79, everyone thought Phil Simms was going to go around in the 3rd round. Bill Walsh even came out and said that if Phil Simms was around in the 3rd round, he was going to take him over Joe Montana, who I believe they took in the 5th round. Ernie Accorsi went and got Eli Manning. He gave up the assets and people thought he was crazy. But look how the Eli Manning career turned out. And Ernie Accorsi learned that from when he was a young GM with the Baltimore Colts and he whiffed on John Elway and he was forced to trade him. So he understood that when you find the guy that you think is your franchise quarterback, you do not waste time. You just go out and get him. And that's what Dave Gettleman did. So my thing is also, like I was saying, Tisch and Maras are probably going to say after finishing the season, even if we finish the season 6-10, they are going to give Dave Gettleman another season in 2021. The only way I think Dave Gettleman would leave is if he decided to retire himself, because of the fact that, let's say Daniel Jones starts playing well again towards the end of the season, you're then going to have the guy that hired the head coach, brought in the franchise quarterback, rebuilt the line, and helped to rebuild the defense. We forgot, and we don't even talk about the Leonard Williams trade anymore. Why? Because the fact that Leonard Williams has turned it around from his half a sack year. And you sit there and go, okay, if we gave up these assets to get Leonard Williams, and Leonard Williams has turned into an All-Pro, that's actually a good trade on the Gettleman book. So I mean, it's just maddening to think that, like I said, there's just a few short weeks ago, Dave Gettleman was a goner, and now Dave Gettleman is a hero. I think he'll be around for 2021. What happens beyond that, I do not know, but I do think he will be around in 2021. We're going to just some news and notes. We're going to be on the Brooklyn Hit Squad show sometime this week, I think in the next day or so. So check me out on the Brooklyn Hit Squad 96 channel. He's a good Giant YouTuber. I enjoy speaking Giants with him. He's a younger guy who seems to know his stuff. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giant sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means. That'd be awesome.